Who is it? Who is it? Who could it be? Welcome to Who Is It Jueves with me, your host, La Maestra Loca. Each and every jueves, you can find me here on my YouTube channel interviewing some of the most inspirational educators I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. And with my Loca Lineup, which is 11 carefully curated questions that I have designed to really get at the depth, the core of this educator, you will be walking away inspired and knowing these teachers on a level that you never thought possible. And who knows, you might even walk away with a few tricks up your sleeve on a FriYay Eve. Let's get to it. Who is it? Who could it be? Who is it? Who is it? Jueves who? Just tell us who. Thanks for being here. Love you, teacher. Hello, welcome to Who Is It Jueves with La Maestra Loca. I am so stinking excited again because today's guest is, you're gonna know them. You're gonna be like, what? And I'm so excited for you to see who it is. This person is a dear friend of mine, somebody who loves me as a person outside of La Maestra Loca, is a person that I can bounce business ideas off of and rely on for that because she is very similar to me in her business model. And she's an incredibly hardworking, dedicated, loving friend, mom, wife, teacher, all the things. So get excited. Please welcome to Who Is It Jueves? Can you handle it?
I'm here. I think I did it right. Like I did it right. I
You did
was
it
so
perfect.
worried. Like, is the audio? Is the video? What should I be?
It was perfect. You did it perfect. It was perfect. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so grateful for you. And you're here after a school day. How was your school day today?
So I'm not because today we have a day off. So I didn't,
Mm.
and I had a great morning. I went for a long run, and then I had my coffee, and then I've been working on my podcast. So I record my podcast, and I record my podcast with my takeaways from our winter conference for Growing with Proficiency, the Spanish Teacher Academy, where you were. So I talk a lot about all the things that you taught us in the winter conference, and of course, many more things. So
That's so
that is what I've
cool.
been doing today.
Very productive day off.
Yes,
That's nice. And you still did what's most important and you took care of you first with your run and your cafecito.
yes, I did.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so Claudia, you told me that you have not seen any of these interviews yet. So I will tell you,
No, I haven't.
this is very exciting. Who is it Jueves is an opportunity for me to ask these 11 carefully curated questions. That's called the Loca Lineup, by the way. And it gets to know the real Claudia.
Oh
So
my gosh, I
at the end of
love
this
it.
interview, we're going to know you much better. It's very exciting.
Oh, this is very exciting. It's a little bit intimidating, though.
No, 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 no. Don't be intimidated. You are magnificent and wonderful, and we're only going to love you even more than we are. Okay. Are you ready though?
I am ready.
Okay. I guess before we begin, in case people don't know you, you are la famosa, the inspiring Claudia Elliott. You teach high school Spanish in Jacksonville, Florida, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, awesome. Here we go. Claudia, if you could describe yourself as a dessert, what dessert would it be?
Ooh, it would be, I think, a flan.
Flan. Okay.
Yeah, it's just really sweet.
Yeah, you are really sweet.
Yes, I am really sweet.
Okay, I like that. Okay, and you're not abashed to say that. I like that. Okay, number two. What is your favorite rejoinder?
Qué chévere.
Que chévere.
Yeah.
Is it true that there are, I know that in Colombia that is how cool. What other countries is that like used more than anything else? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know, but I know that in Colombia. And then in Colombia, we have difference based on the region where you're from. So I am from Bogota, which is the center of Colombia, and that is what we use. Oh, super chévere, me encanta, sí, super, super chévere. So I think that would be my best rejoinder. Now, another thing that I love to use that is not a rejoinder is ito. Uy, mi cafecito, mi perrito, mi casita, mi amiguito, mi amiguita, mi ito, ita is just Claudita, Luquitas, Anabelita. That is another thing that I tend to use a ton in my class.
And I bet your students do too.
Yeah, they do. They sound like Colombian after a little
Yeah,
bit. After a few months, they all sound like Colombians. And
that's
Bogota, Colombian, from Bogota.
yeah, that's really, really cool. Okay, if you could be instantly fluent in any other language, what would it be?
Eh, I mean, you are gonna say, okay, French.
French. Cool.
Yes, I love it. I went to France like 2 years ago, and we rehearsed, my husband and I don't know what his part is, I forgot. But I remember that we rented bikes. So I told him, I said, we need to do this because we were in the countryside of France. And I say, okay, so I'm gonna say, bonjour, monsieur, bonjour, madame. Comment ça va? And then they would say, très bien. And then my husband would say, what a beautiful day. And then we say, oh, wow, wow. And we rehearsed that. And I felt like so much joy doing that. And I just like loved it. So I think that would be like, I would love to be just France. I don't know why I love it so much. And the pan of chocolate and the croissant and the coffee. And oh my gosh, just, yeah, that would be my language.
I love that so much. You can feel how much joy it brought you.
Yes,
I can feel
it
it. I
did.
can feel
I
it.
remember that we were in a little Airbnb, and I was like, my mission every morning was to go to the coffee shops and get coffees and breakfast for everybody. And I just love it. And I oh, the latte, a petite latte. I mean, I was just like, it just feels so good.
I just love it. You can feel your joy. It's so good. I hope that that comes true one day for you. Okay, what is one thing that you could never teach without?
Ooh, I think I'm thinking that I've been teaching in I guess a marker.
A marker.
A
I like
marker. Like I need to write it, I need to draw it, I need a marker.
yeah. Simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I
it.
love that. I love that. Would it be a specific color?
No, black. Black would do it.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. I
Um,
think I need several because I'm gonna lose the marker in like the first
that's fair.
Yeah, so,
That's fair.
so don't give me one marker
That's just
because
one.
yeah, you need to give me like a six, at least a six
Okay.
pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
pack. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's same. What is a weird food combination that you swear by?
Okay, so it's right with ketchup.
Rice with ketchup?
I mean, like, I don't understand why people don't eat like that.
Arroz con ketchup.
Con salsa de tomate.
Like, hold on, I just have to.
So it's
Like,
rice with ketchup. Like, the salsa, we call it, in Colombia, we don't call it ketchup. We call it salsa de tomate. Like your ketchup, so you have your white rice
mhm.
and, with chicken and whatever, and you put like some, like just do that with ketchup
On top of your
on
rice
top of the rice. Yeah.
with whatever you're eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's delicious. And nobody does it. And my kids refuse to do it and they don't let me do it. They get grossed out. So that is one. And another one is chocolate con queso.
Okay, so that was another person. I haven't released their interview, so I don't want to say their name, but that was somebody else's and I had never heard of it. And this person is also Colombian, and she was like,
Chocolate con queso. Because like the cheese melts, right? Like, and it's
okay.
just so delicious. So I would do those both. Arroz con
I've
salsa de tomate.
never heard of rice with ketchup.
Yes, yes. Just it's so good. It's so good. Somebody wants to come in. It's Luna.
Is it so it's cold. You don't heat it. You're literally pouring cold ketchup onto your hot rice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we do arroz con pollo, right?
Hmm.
And we put ketchup on top of the arroz con pollo.
And that's very Colombian.
Very Colombian, very popular, very, that's what we do.
Wow. And does your husband do that?
No, he doesn't. And my kids don't do it. They hate it. They say that it's gross. Same as the chocolate con queso. Now, I think one of them tried when we went to Colombia and he liked it, but it was just, yeah, he doesn't do
That's
it.
very different. It's very
Yeah.
different.
It's delicious though. Try it one time.
Oh,
Try the,
I'll try anything one time. I
yeah.
I think it sounds repulsive if I'm 100% honest.
What, which one? Which one sounds repulsive? The,
Oh, both. Both. But I will try. I try everything once. I try everything once. It's
oh my
easier.
gosh.
I do find it is easier for me to try things when I'm traveling.
Yes, yes,
If
yes.
you agree with that, yeah, it's much easier for me to try things when I'm traveling, but I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay. What is one tip that you have for teachers who are new to acquisition-driven instruction or teachers who are new to the classroom in general? One tip.
Okay, so for teachers who are new to the classroom, I think just take one day at a time and have fun. I think one of the biggest things is that we take it too seriously.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes it's so hard to balance having, I think classroom management always gets involved in that. And we feel like we need to be very grumpy and very serious and just be very tough to gain respect from our students. When in reality, when we are very human and we're very clear, that is when we get the most respect from our students. So I don't think our students are gonna act right based on fear of us. I think they're gonna act right when they know what we want from them and when we have a good relationship with them. And I think those two usually happen when we are very human, when we are vulnerable, when we have clarity of what we want in the class, right? Like at this point, I want you to do this. But when we have fun, I think fun and laughter really creates great connections in the class.
I agree so much. I so agree. Will you do a brain break with me?
Yeah.
Okay, what you're going to do you have a piece of paper around you somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a pen?
Yeah.
Okay, what you're going to do, my paper has something on the back, which is highly annoying. Okay, this one. Look, Memphis drew himself. How cute is that? Okay, on your paper, draw a figure eight like this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to set a 30-second timer, and you must turn that into something in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Ready,
Okay.
set, go.
Okay.
And we will show what we turned it into afterwards. I love this one with students.
I know I'm gonna do this next tomorrow.
I have a freebie template I'll give you if you want.
Yes,
Because
please.
you print them all the same image, and then they all have the same thing to start with, and then they only have 30 seconds to turn it into something else. And then you can have them go around the class and show it to each other. It's great.
Oh.
Okay, timer. Okay,
Okay.
this is mine. It's an hourglass.
Oh, this is mine.
That's a little person.
That's a little person.
Look how cute with their hands on their hips.
Yeah, and it has a flower. It made a flower. I don't know what happened with my camera, but it just cannot.
Put your face behind it.
Oh,
That might make it more clear. Yeah,
yeah.
there.
So
Oh,
it has a
cute.
flower and it has a little packet.
See, that's so cute. And that's what's amazing about this activity. I need to remember, I'll write down so I don't forget to send it to you. The best thing, and for those of you watching the YouTube, I'll paste it in the thing so you can grab it too. The best thing about it is their brains all immediately see whatever they're going to draw. Like
Ah,
instantly. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I'll just do this." And one time last year I had a fifth grader draw almost identically the same thing as a fourth grader, almost identically,
oh,
two different
wow.
periods. And I was like, and so I had to show them because they both turned it into this shark, but the mouth was exactly the same. Like everything was the same. And couldn't believe that two different people saw the exact same thing and in the exact same 30 seconds drew almost identical. It's,
Oh, isn't that interesting?
yeah. And then what's nice is, they go around the room and you're all showing each other for another 30 seconds. So it's like it's still a 60-second brain break. And then afterwards, if you saw anything that you were like, oh, that was really cool, you can then turn it into a talking piece in your class and be like,
Of
now I'm
course.
going back into the class and speaking in Spanish and putting this on the doc cam. And isn't this clever? And so cool. Okay, thank you for doing
You're
that.
welcome.
Okay, number 8. What is your favorite activity for acquisition?
I have so many, but I have to say that I think is star student interview.
I love that.
I just love, and I notice when I do a lot of star student interviews, I have a better classroom culture than when I don't.
Mm.
And but just getting to know your students. I think I have some, I don't know if it happens to you, but sometimes I don't have a lot of patience with students. I love students who love me, right? Like I love students when they are participating with, like I feel like I'm giving you everything, like you just have fun. But then you always have these students who are like sleepy, that don't want to participate, that are kind of like grumpy all the time, that are mad all the time, that something off. Like you say, like, what it is wrong with you, kid? I give you everything. Like, what is that you don't have fun in this class? And then when I do start students interviews, and then even if I don't get to know the students, when I bounce out like a question to that student, and I start getting to know the students a little bit more, then I start finding out why, and then suddenly I become very compassionate for that student.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
like the empathy.
really, really hard for me to like only like knowing I have to be patient with my students. Like I know that, but doing it when I don't know my students is really, really hard.
Yeah.
So when I have an activity like start student interview, another one that I love is checking with my students on a regular basis, right? Like check it every morning, every day we check, like how you do it. Like we have an activity, that's where we start the class. I also love those because it gets me a little bit of information about my students.
Insight.
And and then I become more compassionate. So not only that we use the language and it's comprehensible and all that, which is great, but I think acquisition driven instruction is so much based on relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can do one without the other.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
So I think those are the ones that I like the most.
I love that. Ding, 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 ding. Oh my gosh, did you hear that? That's the sound of a bonus question.
Oh, okay. Bonus question. Do I get 2 points?
2 point. No, three actually. 3 points.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yes. Claudia, I know, but many people watching this may not know that teaching has not always been your profession. And before this, you had another career. So could you
Yeah.
tell us what that was and how you think it has helped you in your teaching now?
Okay, so my other career was a lawyer. So my dad was a lawyer. And when I was a little kid, I used to go during vacation, I used to go to the office with my dad. And I sat down with his secretary, and I just loved it. And I just said, like, this is what I want to do. So when I finished school, I wanted to get my law degree. And I did it. And I worked not for 1 year or 2 years. I was a lawyer for 10 years, and I got 3 masters in law. I have one in international business law from American University here in the United States. And then I have two, one from tax law and then for international trade. So I have 3 master's degree. I work 10 years as a lawyer. I work in a private law firm. And And then I remember one of my lawyers, one of the partners, said, I don't know why, Claudia, there is something in me that tells me that you're gonna end up working for a nonprofit organization, helping humanity in some way, because you just always go back to that. And I think I don't know how it has helped me, but I think I needed to do that in order for me to do this.
Mhm.
Because I feel like for me, like kind of academics and having all these masters and studying was really important. It was kind of like gave me value. And I think that's what I struggled a lot when I started being a teacher because I didn't have the credentials to be a teacher. So how can I be a good teacher without having the credentials? Because for me, having the credential was part of my value. So I think I had to do that in order to be able to say, I can do something that doesn't require that I can study my own, that I can get better, that I can learn. And because that gave me the permission to be a teacher. Because I did it and I think I was very successful and I really liked it, but it was in my heart. So finding being a teacher is my heart. And my mom is a teacher, was a teacher. So I guess I get a little bit from both of my
I was
parents.
about to say that's so special because you're somebody, you're like the ultimate daughter because your love for your parents bleeds into everything and you talk about them all the time. And even though your dad has passed, you still talk about him so much. And that's such a beautiful tribute to both of them that you've
Yeah.
had, the experience in both their fields.
And when I decided to be a teacher, because that was never my intention, it just happened. And I was so afraid that my dad was going to be disappointed because, he was a lawyer.
Mm.
And he just like look at me as like, I just want you to be happy, to just do whatever. And he was always so proud of me,
Always proud.
always proud, like always so proud. Like I think my existence made him proud.
Yeah.
And that's something that I try to just always remember because, sometimes we can be very demanding of ourselves and
Yeah.
always pushing for the next thing. And sometimes it's just being ourselves is what
Yeah.
is,
It's enough.
yeah, it's enough. Yeah.
I love that, Claudia. Thank you. What is your favorite word in the target language? And I'm not going to specify what target language that is. You can decide.
Eh, mm, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I really like the word solidaridad in Espanol. Like I think it's such a, I don't know, it's just it encompasses so much and it's so hard to explain sometimes. Um, I don't know. Salida de la, I don't know, there are so many, but I think solidaridad, um, I really like empathy too.
Mhm.
Empathy and compassion. I really like those words.
It's
And growing, right? Like I think growing is just such a good word for me because it's uh, so my dad, I have to always talk about my dad. My dad had a farm, and in the farm he had coffee. He had matas de café, and he just treat them like just put a lot of water and work on them and just all the time and all the time. And then sometimes they were beautiful and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they grew right and sometimes they don't. But he kept working on those, and I think that's kind of like life, right? Like it's just a constant growing experience. And sometimes we just want to find the perfect coffee bean and focusing always on that product. But we just forget that it's just kind of like the doing every day, which is beautiful, right? Like, and my dad was a farmer, he had a farm. That was his life. His just everything that he did, he invested in that farm. And I was just this work all the time, not to get the bean, but just to just keep growing. And I think that's us. And we sometimes forget that. And we, like in our students, in our life, in our personal life, with our friends, it's a constant kind of like growing, changing, getting moving, learning more, opening our eyes to different opportunities. And that means letting go of things, but that means embracing other things. So I guess that's what I've been kind of like working on in the last, I don't know, all my life, I guess.
I love that so much. It's so cool that you anchored it back to that his finca and and that whole. I love that.
Oh my gosh. I don't I think I've been very lucky, like I have all these stories in myself, and I was super lucky because we were a really close family, as you can tell.
Yeah.
So we were really, really close. We did so many things together. And then when I moved here, then he moved here with me. And then it was like this incredible experience that we had when he was here older, living with me for 10 years before he passed. So it's just kind of like, it's just been super lucky to have that in my life.
Yeah, that's special. What number am I thinking of?
Three?
No,
Oh,
it's okay. It's all right. Okay. Okay, are you ready for the last question?
I
Okay, here we go. Claudia, what is something that your students will say about you 30 years from now when they think back to time in your classroom with you?
Oh, I think they're gonna say that um, I had so much energy, and I think they're gonna say that I care so much. I
Mm,
think they're gonna just say she cares so, so much.
mm,
Yeah, I think they're gonna have great memories. I think they're gonna have great memories of the time in my class. A few years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, I got an email from a student. It was a terrible student, I know it. It was a student who was sleeping in my class all the time. He didn't want to speak in Spanish at all. Every time that I was talking to him, like, what are you saying? What are you saying? It was like this student, right? Like this student. And I was like, oh, okay. So he finished. He was with me 2 years, one as a freshman and then one as a junior. He left and he sent me an email 2 years or 3 years ago or something like that. And he said, my name is blah. You may remember me. I wasn't the best student. I said, like, really?
You immediately were like, yes,
You
I know
remember
you.
you. You were not the best student. And he said, but you taught me a lot. And I was like, when? Like when? You were sleeping in my class all the time.
Are you sure?
When? And then he's like, I'm studying in South Florida and I'm using a lot of the Spanish that you taught me. And I'm like, when was this happening? Because I didn't see it. And then he said that he was doing a lot of work with Spanish speakers and that these Spanish speakers didn't speak English. So he was so happy that he was able to understand. And then at the end, he said, like, I appreciate your patience and everything with me. And Miss Elliott, how is Mateo and Lucas doing? So I think they will remember that. I think they will remember who I am. I don't think they will remember. I don't know if they're gonna remember a story or not, or some specific things that we did, but I think they will remember me,
Yeah,
Claudia Elliott, not as the teacher in the class.
yeah, I love that. And it's also a testament to the power of acquisition that even though he was sleeping, he was still acquiring.
I mean, like, can
Oh,
you imagine that? And that's
that was
what
amazing.
something that all my students have told me. It's like one of the biggest things that has happened in my class is the many stories. Like not one, not two, but the many, multiple stories, even from the student who is like, oh my goodness, is coming back to the classroom and say, I had this, I helped this person, and I was able to have this conversation. It's not like in the books, it's just something that they were able to say, to understand, to engage. And I feel like sometimes and I was having this conversation with Michelle Wally and Laurie Clark, who are been teaching how many years?
Yeah, yeah,
Or I mean 30, 25,
yeah,
54. I mean, like
yeah,
just
yeah.
many, many years. And they say we're so excited to be teaching. And I think one of the keys to be happy and have a long career of teachers is when your goals are aligned with that reality. When
Yeah.
my goals are not, oh, my students are not producing enough, or they're not understanding enough, or they're not reading the article, or they're not understanding this listening. But when you really see that and you get excited about that, that is when you keep saying, yeah, I'm doing it. Because many times we say, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because my kids are not here or there or whatever it is yet. And we forget all these times when they come so excited and say, Senora, guess what? I was at Walmart and somebody said, and I understood. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I think, I think that's the power of acquisition-driven instruction, is
Yeah.
that really we're using the language. We're not just teaching about the language, we're using it.
Yeah. We're so lucky.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
Okay, Claudia, if somebody listening to this is not already following you and learning from you and learning with you, what are the ways that they can do that?
Oh, this is so exciting. So the first thing that if you are listening and listen to this is go and find me in your favorite podcast player. I absolutely love to do my podcast, and I have it's called Growing with Proficiency because we're all growing. So Growing with Proficiency, the podcast, and you can find it everywhere. It's in Apple Podcasts, in Spotify. You can also Google it and you're gonna find it. And then you can find my page, which is Growing with Proficiency, where I kind of like create a blog. Sometimes my blogs are really great, sometimes they're really small. It depends on the time. It's just like sometimes it's the title. That's it for today. That is what I'm doing this week. But they're there, and then if you're a Spanish teacher, I have an academy, community, uh, only for Spanish teachers, and it's only for Spanish teachers because we do a lot of the training in Spanish. Plus, I share a lot of what I do in terms of the content. And I'm also super like, I don't know, I feel like because we do acquisition driven instruction, we have a great opportunity to have culturally rich classes where we really where is like what is the content, right? Like what are we talking about? So while we don't talk about things that are gonna have our students say, what? Oh my God, that person. So when we have that and when we create content that really showing our students the richness of our culture in a way that really sparks curiosity and authentic um, interest, I think we're doing such an incredible impact. We're going to have such a great impact. And in the Spanish Teacher Academy, I share that. I share my curriculum that is called Creciendo, of course, because we're growing. And it's all based in stories. So it's really content-based storytelling, and it's stories that are culturally rich. And yeah, that's what I do. And it's called Growing with Proficiency, the Spanish Teacher Academy. And you can go to my page, growingwithproficiency.com, and you're going to see the link there to find information.
Yay. And I'll link all of that on this YouTube video too, so that people can just click directly from it to find the podcast
Thank you.
and everything. Yeah. Thank you for this. This one was a longer one, but I think that it was one of my favorites because um, I learned a lot of new things about you, but I just think that I could talk to you forever about what we do and how powerful it is. And it's just we really are so lucky. And I can't think of anything that I want more for my students than um, the gift of communication and genuine curiosity for others and empathy and compassion for others. So we align so much about that. And it's been a joy talking to you, Mike.
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
been a joy talking to you. Thank you for having me. And I just love these interviews. Now that I know, I'm gonna go and binge. That's how you call it when you go
Yeah,
and
binge.
that thing. I'm gonna do that with all your older interviews because this is so fun.
It is. It's really cool. I got the idea from a late night TV show, and I was just like, you know what? I think even though they're the exact same 11 questions, you can learn so much, and everybody's so different that it's still just like special and unique for each person. So,
And I love that about you. You always are finding new ways to like have these incredible learning experiences because I think we just learn so much from like these type of conversations that are not related only to teaching and the
yeah,
strategy.
yeah,
And I think that the same happened with our students, right? Like
yeah,
we learn so much when we have these conversations with them. And yeah, so
yeah,
thank you for having me.
yeah. I appreciate you so much. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Nos vemos a pronto. Chao, chao.
Adios.
Adiós.